And if we can continue, if we can like get along like we had the last couple days, I think I need my big toes licked and my feet and in between my toes.
Jasmine, you licking your toe?
Well, I have a whole room full of them.
Do you?
Dedicated to toes.
Tell me something. Where is your other half?
She's in the other van. I don't know why. Maybe she doesn't want to be with me. I don't know.
Hey you gassy guys and gals, and welcome back to another episode of 90 Day Fiancé, The Last Resort. This week is episode 14. And let's just stop it right here. You do not have to tell me. I know. I did not upload episode 13, but what had happened was last week I was really behind on schedule. And after posting the new episode of 90 Day Fiancé, I started editing The Last Resort. And I got halfway through it and realized not a damn thing happened in the last episode. It was a bunch of nothing. So I was already so far behind and I was like, you know what, let me just stop right here because I can sum up what happened in the last episode in like less than 30 seconds. Natalie came around and continued to say Josh was still body shaming her. Stacey woke up in a hangover and was asking for empanadas, and Benny was finally set free. Ari and Benny decided to get divorced and they left the resort, and that's it. That's all that happened. So much didn't happen that they didn't have a starting point for the show. So it just starts out with Sophie and Rob going out to a field and they start playing around. And then they have a flashback into when they had therapy. And at first I thought this flashback was from last episode. And I was thinking like, did I miss a whole chunk of an episode? Because they made it look like it was from the past. And I guess it was technically from the past. But it was a therapy session that they had like that morning. So why they didn't film that and just make that an episode? I do not know why, because they do it again later on with Josh. But it's a flashback of them having therapy just a little bit before. So the therapist is asking them how they're doing, what's going on, and Sophie tells her what happened with her and Rob, saying that she saw him texting other women while they're here at this retreat, how he's not trying or anything like that. And Rob says, yeah, I was texting people, but it's just people DMing me and I'm replying back. It's nothing like that. And she's like, well, yes, I never said you were cheating, Rob.
What? If somebody DMs me and I respond, that does not mean I'm talking to other women. And that's what you found.
I'm not saying you're cheating. I'm just saying.
No, you are, because that shows how you made it sound to everybody.
I've said multiple times, it's not cheating. I found out he's at this retreat and he's still messaging other women trying to have with them.
Got him. We fucking got him.
If the point was she didn't want him talking to women regardless, which I could see is something that she would want and probably has stated, then yes, I understand being upset. But how she presented this whole thing made it seem like he was like talking to other women and like cheating. But then she backtracks and is like, no, I wasn't saying you were cheating, Rob. I wasn't saying that. And he's like, but that's how you made it look like. You made me look like a bad guy that I'm cheating on you. No, Rob, I wasn't trying to do that. And the therapist is just sitting back and letting them go back and forth, and she's like, they're just arguing at each other. They both just want to be mad at each other and they just throw accusations and nothing goes anywhere. So after them bickering back and forth, she's finally like, listen guys, whatever happened in your past happened. You cannot change that. So either accept it and move on, or you don't and you leave each other. So what are you going to do? Sophie goes on to say that she loves him, she's always loved him, she's cared about him, but he makes her feel so crappy. She's felt the worst since she's been with him, but she's here and she wants to make it work. And Rob just says, I love you. I've always loved you. And that was it. And then they just got up and hugged. And I guess it was good enough for the both of them because, again, right after they went out to this little field and were like playing with each other.
What do you mean by that?
And now it's time for Stacey, Darcy, and Florian to get their therapy. And I swear every single time Stacey comes through, she eats. Everything she wears is so dang cute, I swear. But they all get sat down and the therapist is like, hi, nice to meet you, Darcy. Just tell me about yourself. And she's like, okay, well, I'm Darcy and I'm 7 minutes older than her, so I'm the protector.
Oh shit, here we go again.
She has to say that in every conversation she has. Because we've now heard it twice come from her mouth. Like, why does it matter? 7 minutes ain't that much time, girl. But then goes on to say, since they're twins, they have a whole bunch of conflict. And it's gotten worse ever since they started doing everything together. Like, they got married about the same time and then divorced at the same time, had kids at the same time, and just been doing everything together. But Stacey goes on to call out her bullshit. The whole 7 minutes older thing is so, I'm sure, old as hell. She says Darcy is always just trying to one-up her, is trying to be the better twin, and she's like, we are equals. But Florian goes on to say that he loves both of them and they're very loving, caring people, but they just have unnecessary fights all the time. So the therapist asks what they want out of this, and Stacey just says that they're way too intertwined. She's way too involved in their relationship, and goes on to talk about how Darcy is always calling Florian in the middle of the night, just calling him all the time in general. And Stacey's like, no, I do not. I have a husband. I have a marriage, honey. And you talk to Georgie all the time. You talk to my husband. And she's like, not like that, girl. And you know it. And goes on to say that she's very needy, and she's needy towards somebody that's not her husband. And that it's okay that she calls Florian, but don't be calling Florian at 3 a.m. That's just incredibly disrespectful. And Darcy is such a flip-flopper because she'd be like, I don't do that. But you know, I do this because of this. But she was saying she does not call Florian all the time, but then flips around and is like, well, I do that because, you know, we'd be going out all the time, and sometimes we'll go out real late and then we come home, but we're still awake. And so we'll just sit there and talk about our lives and talk about each other. Yeah, you're talking shit about me. You always talk shit about me. What are you talking about? I have never done that. Weren't you just telling him that he should be single? That he's better off without me? I did not say that. Are you crazy? I've never said that. And the only way I would have said that is if we were beefing. So we were probably really mad at each other. I was probably drunk, and yeah, I probably said that. So the therapist asked Florian, how does he see Darcy? And he's like, well, she's family to me. She's my sister. And Stacey out of nowhere is like, but you don't look at her in a schmexual way, right? And
I look like it's my sister, you know.
You don't see it in like a sexual way.
What are you talking about? That's disgusting.
So this is where it disgusts me, because she was saying something like that. And this is the first time I ever heard her say something like that, and that I would never even think that or feel that, and for her to think those thoughts.
That is disgusting.
I'm just asking a question. I'm allowed to ask a question. What my husband, what'd you do with my husband up there at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning?
And honestly, I would probably be feeling the same way too. I do not care if you guys are family or not. Sometimes family be trifling as hell. Why are you calling my man at 3 in the morning? You have a husband, right? You have your own marriage, right? Talk to your husband. Why are you guys going out in the middle of the night and like just coming back to my home, talking on my couch, talking shit about me? I would be asking the same thing. And the therapist tells them that what she's asking is a fair question, because everything that's going on or what's being said, I mean, so the therapist asks Darcy how she's feeling. What is she hearing out of this? And Darcy's like, I don't know. It sounds like she just wants to keep her man to herself. Yes, she does. It's her husband. I shouldn't have to share my man with my twins. I shouldn't have to share my man with nobody, okay? Like she said, if you guys were calling in the middle of the day, sure, whatever. Can't really complain about that. You could be family, friends, whatever. Don't be dragging my man around Miami at 3 in the morning. Unacceptable! But Stacey goes on to just say that she just needs some boundaries, some rules, some things set in place, like a curfew on when you can just be calling him. So the therapist gives them some homework and is like, you know what? You guys need to do things individually on your own without each other. When you guys go out with your friends, you guys go separately. You guys go do different things. And they're like, all right, I got you.
2 seconds later.
So they're all piling up into the car. And this is where I was saying they also had a therapy session with Josh, but they didn't really like show it. They kind of just made it look like a flashback. So he's talking to this therapist one-on-one, and the therapist is asking him, what is he looking for? What does he want the long-term relationship to look like with Natalie? And he's like, you know what? I don't even know. I did not even think about it. To be honest, should I just give up?
Yep.
And the therapist asks him, would you even be able to leave? And he's just like, I don't know. So right now, Josh is lost in the sauce. I don't know what he's doing. But he goes on to say that he doesn't want to give up. He wants to keep giving her chances because she does have a very sweet side to her. And the one example that he had, he said his dad has a bad knee or something, and Natalie just tells his dad not to walk as much. Yeah, that's a saint if I've ever seen one. But everybody gets piled up into the car, and Josh and Natalie are sitting in the back, and Natalie puts some crazy curse on him, and I'm pretty sure it worked because he started going into town. He was about to tear her clothes off in the back right there. So Josh, you keep asking, you don't know why you're sticking around, you don't know why you can't leave. Well, there you go. Stop letting her wave her hands in front of your face. But they start heading off, and Josh is asking Gino about his hats. Like, dang, you got a lot of them? Like, what's going on? And Gino, he was cracking himself up. He's like, yeah, I got all the hats in the world. You know, I got a whole collection, a whole room dedicated to hats. But Natalie wraps her arms around Gino and is like, look at you, sexy man. Where's your wife at? You're such an amazing man. I couldn't be away from you, Gino.
She likes it dirty. She's a dirty girl.
Oh, you know, these last couple of days, they've been real good between us. And honestly, if she gives me 2 good more days, I'd probably let her suck my toes. Oh, you let Jasmine lick your toes? Oh, no, Florian. Soon. It's a treat. I'm gonna need my toes licked all over, the big toe, the pinky toe, the middle toe, all down the market, yeah. Well, make sure you just wash your toes, you know. Give it to her clean, Gino. No, she likes them dirty. She's a dirty girl, yeah. Now, the fact that you guys let me act out that whole damn scene, y'all is trifling. But they all arrive at the bar, and the one person missing is Brandon, and Julia says that she left him at home because how dare he not want her happy. But they arrive in this bar, and it looks really cool. Like, they had a whole bunch of different games. They had like foosball, ping pong, Jenga. Like, it was popping up in there. It looked pretty cool. So all the girls sit down, they're all talking, and Stacey asks where Brandon is, and Julia gets into the whole therapy session that they had, saying that she told him that she applied to bring her parents down here, and he flipped a lid. And I think this is where the views of what actually is happening is a bit skewed, and I don't know if she just is refusing to see what's actually happening or if she doesn't really understand why Brandon is upset. But she thinks Brandon is upset because she's bringing her parents down here, and that is a little bit to do with it. But for me, I think it's the lies, the things that just keep popping up, and he's like, what else are you gonna say? Because she literally just came out and saying that she cheated. Then they already had a discussion about her parents coming down, and he said that he wasn't okay with it because their marriage was already rocky at this point, and her parents were already divorced or divorcing, and so their relationship wasn't that great. And to top it all off, we find out here, not only are they moving down here, but they're going to be moving in with them. So now I understand why Brandon was like a solid no on the parents. I bet you if they had the money or whatever to go get their own places, or even if they just brought in one parent or something, it probably wouldn't have been as bad. But their marriage is already failing. She didn't think this through at all, and she's telling them that she wishes that he would just give them a chance because he really only met them a few times, and so they're like strangers. But Rob just says that maybe moving her parents in with them would probably not be the best idea. So she starts crying, saying how she has no family, no friends, no nothing, and that she wants to bring down some support system. And I completely understand that you've been feeling alone and stuff, but how have you been living here for 3 years and you don't have any friends yet? It sounds like you're just not trying to build that support system. And I understand, yeah, you would love to be close to your parents. That's cool. You're also grown now in your own marriage, and now you're going behind your husband's back to move in your parents, and now you're about to lose the other support system that you had, your husband. It's just like nothing was being thought through, and it sounds like she's just being very selfish about the situation. But she just says that she hopes Brandon will just be as supportive as everybody else is being. And while she's talking to everybody else, Darcy is outside on the phone, and she's like, oh my god, are you sure? Do I need to tell her? Oh my god. Doing the whole dramatics over the phone, and I knew she was about to bring up some BS. Now, I'm not saying Florian didn't do these things, but Darcy did bring up this bullshit because because she's pissed off. But Darcy pulls Stacey to the side and they sit at the bar and she's like, you know, I love you, Stacey. You're my twin. The twinness, we're bonding. Yes, the love, yada, yada, yada. And even Stacey's like, okay, yeah, what do you want? But she goes on to tell her that one night her, Georgie, and Florian were out at the bar. And at one point, Florian walks out of the bar with two blondes, but she didn't see what happened after they walked out. And all I want to know is, how were you at the bar all night with Florian and you didn't see him talk to these blondes at any point of the night? It's not like he just walked up on two girls and was like, hey, let's go home. Like, there had to be some type of communication before, so how did you not see anything? But she goes on to say that Georgie just called her and he's at the same bar and that same girl is there, and she walked up to him and said to tell Florian, thank you for taking me home. And you know, Stacey was flipping out from the get-go. She was like, what? But Darcy milks it even more and it's like, she even walked up with the motive. Yeah, it looked like she said that they were kissing or exchanged numbers or got together. And it's like, how do you know? How do you know what she looked like? How did you see that motive in her eyes? Because I don't think Georgie explained all that to you. So it's like, but Stacey's like, I knew it. I felt it. I felt this in my gut. I knew this was coming. But Stacey at first plays it cool and she's like, hey Florian, let's go outside, let's have some alone time. Was like cutesy about it. He had no clue what was going on, but the minute they got alone, she went into detective mode. And he could tell because she was acting really weird. She was like, oh, you see these flowers right here? I'm just gonna, you know, stop and smell the roses. Or are these roses? You know, these roses, or whatever they are, they remind me of our wedding. Do you remember that day? Our wedding? Our vow renewals? What the fuck are you talking about, Stace? Well, I'm just saying, look at your face. The lines on your face, they aren't pressed up in a smiling way. Does that mean you're not happy with us anymore? What the fuck? And he's like, something is up with Stacey, and I know for a fact Darcy said something. But right at the same time, Jasmine decides she's gonna pull Gino off to the side. And you know, it's time for that open marriage talk. So she tells him about the therapy that she just went through and brings up the open marriage thing again. And says that this conversation is completely serious. There's no running away from it.
Bye, bitch!
But before they can get out of control, they zip us back to Stacey and Florian. And Florian is like, there's something off about you. And Stacey's like, oh, is the vibe off? What is your vibe? You got something to tell me, huh? Your vibe has been weird. You want to tell me something? No. No, I felt it. I know you've been wanting to tell me something, so tell me. And he just sits there and sips his drink and looks around. So she tells him what Darcy just told her. And he's like, what? Chill. No, Stace, no. And Stacey gets crunk as hell again. She's like, so what did you guys do, Did you take that woman to her room? Did you fuck that woman behind my back?
And you went out after hours with Darcy and Georgie. There was two hot blonde chicks, okay? That Darcy saw you leave the club with. You took her home. What'd you guys do after hours?
Once again.
Are you other women behind my back?
And she's sitting there bombarding him like, what did you do? What are you doing? The vibe is off. And he's like, hold on, shh. Let me think of an excuse real quick. Shh. And then it's like, I don't even have my license, so I can't drive anywhere. Dude, you don't need a goddamn license, first of all, to drive. You just drive. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. But you don't even need to drive to get around. You got legs, you got Uber, you got scooters, you got bike. You like, what does a license have to do with anything? So it's just like, you need to stop making excuses. And he's like, okay, one second. Let me think of another excuse. But he goes on to say that this girl lived in the same building. And that was probably the wrong thing to say. No, it definitely was, because that sent Stacey flying. She's like, oh, so this bitch lives in our building? I knew it. You're fucking all the neighbors. Downstairs, upstairs, sideways. Like, what? No. She was drunky, falling all in the street. I just opened the door. That's it. And then I go into the elevator and I push the button for her. But that's it. I just key her to her room. Oh, so you didn't take her into her room and fuck her? You didn't fuck this woman? I'm probably gonna have to bleep this episode because god dang. But Stacey's like, this is a pattern with you. You always do this with the lipstick on the shirt, the blatant flirting in front of me, the coming home late. It's a pattern. You're cheating on me. I know it. It says that his body language and him looking all around and just drinking his drink. He's guilty. He is 100% guilty. And then Florian goes on to say, oh, so who are you gonna choose? Who are you gonna trust? Me or your sister? You know, I've been a ride or die. I've been through the thick and thin with you. So who are you gonna choose?
I know you fucking lying, bitch.
Weren't you having to choose between Stacey and Darcy and you couldn't choose? And one of them isn't even related to you like that. So now you're telling this woman she gotta choose between her sister and her husband? That ain't your sister, boy. So why can't you choose? And Stacey's done with his crap. She's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm leaving. And he's like, oh yeah, run off to Darcy. And she's like, fuck that bitch too. I ain't going to her either. And it's so funny because she's walking away and Florian's like, oh wait, Stace, come on, Stace. But we go back to Jasmine and Gino and they're still talking about the open marriage thing. And Jasmine's like, all right, we have two options here and you're gonna have to pick one. You either one, bend it over and bust it wide open, or two, let somebody else do it. Of course, with some agreements, parameters, and rules. And he's like, you know, I did not agree to no open marriage. I will never do that. So she's like, oh, so we gonna fuck? No, I am not. And Gino goes on to be like, this is all you've ever wanted. You just wanted this to happen. And she's like, no, I didn't. Do you think I want to be in an open marriage? My dream is for you to do it.
Brother,
But this is where I'm gonna have to kind of defend Gino a little bit, even though his little toe face just, I don't like him. But he goes on to ask her, have you found anybody yet for this open marriage thing? And she goes on to be like, yeah, I did. And he's like, oh, is it that gym friend of yours? So he knew exactly who it was. She's like, yeah. So he's like, oh, so that's why you've been at the gym for hours every day. Well, yeah, but also it's a gym. So, you know, that's already kind of a thing. Oh, so you have somebody. You've been doing it with this person. No, it's just a potential. You're cheating on me. No, I'm not. I'm not cheating. And, yeah, you are. Yes, you are. It is one thing to come up and be like, oh, can we have this open marriage thing? He couldn't say that you're cheating just for you bringing it up. But then you come out the woodwork saying you have somebody too? You were cheating. Even if it was emotionally, verbally, or whatever. If somebody is comfortable enough to speak to you when you're married and they're comfortable enough to speak to you on a level of being like, we can bang it out. I can do whatever I need to do for you to help you. And you're like, you're cheating because you're talking in a way you should not be talking. And yes, you can't control what people say, but if somebody was saying stuff like that to you, you either one, need to remove yourself from the situation, or two, you were talking to them in a way that made them comfortable enough to say those things. And I think it's probably the latter when it comes to Jasmine. I'm pretty sure they were both kikiing back and forth. So yes, you emotionally and you verbally cheated on Gino. But Gino was like, I don't want to be around a cheater. And Jasmine's like, I'm not a cheater. So they keep going back and forth on the cheating thing. It's not getting resolved. So Gino's like, you live your life. You have a good life. I'm not going to be with a cheater. Deuces. So I don't know if this is the end for them right now. Again, they're not even together now, but I wonder if they're going to even make it to the commitment ceremony at this point, or if we're going to have another Ari and Benny, which, you know what? No, it's Gino and Jasmine. They got to milk every little second of Gino and Jasmine they got left. Now Stacey comes in and joins everybody and she's just telling them the situation outside. And she's like, you know, he's cheated on me before, but this time he just won't admit it. And right at that moment, Florian is coming in, and I'm pretty sure he meant to say, you're getting on my nerves, but he said, Stace, you come to my nerves. And that was enough for everybody to be on edge, even though what he said didn't make any sense. But Josh got up immediately and was like, all right, let's go, buddy. Because he just started getting up in Stacey's face, and you can tell she is used to this because she just looked dead at him and is like, ugh, there ain't no goddamn way you about to get up in my face like that. He needs to stop drinking. But everybody's yelling at him, telling him to get away. You need some space, walk away. So Josh grabs him and goes outside. And it's funny because Natalie tries to like follow him and he's like, can you back up? Like, God, you are not the right person to be following me right now. And all the girls are just hyping Stacey up, being like, yeah, he is a cheater. He just cheated on you. And I don't know if like that's the one thing to be like, yeah, he cheated. But They're like, yeah, he's guilty 100%. He did that. So Josh is like, what's going on? What's happening? And Florian is like, you know what? I don't even know. It says that Stacey thinks he just cheated because Darcy just came in and decided to start some crap. And he says that she did this on purpose because she's jealous. So I'm guessing she does this quite often. And says that Darcy will do this when Stacey is pushing her away. She will make Florian out to be an enemy, so Stacey will end up running off to Darcy. And Stacey's saying she's done for good. He does have a good side, but he's completely disrespectful. And I don't know how many times she's gonna say that she's done, but not be done. So I'm like, is this it? Is this the time? I don't think she's done. But Josh tells Florian not to worry about it, to just give her some space, because right now the girls are in there rallying around her, screaming, yeah, he cheated on you. So just give her some space tonight. And Sophie is the most outspoken one, and I think it's because of the problems she's had with Rob. She's going through the same thing. So she is the most active, the most like, yeah, he's guilty, don't trust that man.
This is a guilty guy.
Yeah.
You can do so much better.
Yeah, I agree.
So much. He speaks to her is very disrespectful, and I just don't like.
So Rob comes over and tries to chill her out and is like, you don't need to be this involved into this. Like, I understand you want to be a support system, but you could just like mess up this whole person's marriage right now. Like, you're two geeks right now. You need to chill. And she's like, you need to check him. He's talking all crazy to his wife, to your wife. You need to check it. Just like hype as hell. But Rob just backs up and gives up and lets her do her thing. And he just says that with all the drama going on, he just hopes that him and Sophie could just finish the day on a good note. But Jasmine goes outside by herself and Julia follows her and she's like, what's going on? And Jasmine tells her everything that happened and Julia's like, that is some bull dookie. He won't let you go do the daylight. So Julia's now inputting herself into the relationship and literally runs off to go find Gino. Like, for a hot minute, they keep going back to her running around the place still trying to find Gino. But Jasmine goes on to breaking down, saying she doesn't understand why her marriage failed, which, I mean, your whole marriage is literally recorded. Maybe you should just go back and watch what happened. And says all that she wants is to be intimate with her husband, but he's not giving it up. So she just does not know what to do. And it ends with her crying off into the sunset. And now next week, it looks like there's going to be a lot of confrontation, a lot of people having to confront their BS. And I promise I will talk about it. I promise. I mean, technically I did talk about last episode. You guys just didn't see it. So
All right. I gotta go talk to this cheating asshole. Yep.
It take me a long time to build this trust. Right now, basis everything which I work is going down. Basis no trust me no more.
What are you doing?
Just packing.
You won't go into home?
After everything we've done, I don't see this as working.
now, if you guys loved my reenactment of Tales of the Toe Sucker, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe because I will probably end up reenacting something else weird. But as always, thank you guys for coming and watching. It's always appreciated. You guys have a beautiful day. Bye.